What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and today 6ix9ine has officially been sentenced. But before we get into that, be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at QuakeGW. A link is in the description below for both. As you guys know, December 18th was officially the date that we found out about 6ix9ine's fate, about his sentencing, how much time he's going to serve, if he's going to serve any time at all. And today we found out he's actually going to serve a little bit more time. A lot of media outlets were reporting that all charges were dropped against 6ix9ine. This was false news. None of that happened. Only one charge out of the 9 counts got dropped, so he was still facing 8 counts. So today he got sentenced for those 8 counts, and he ended up getting sentenced to 2 years in prison. But the time that he's served so far, the 13 months, is running concurrent for those 2 years. What that means is those 13 months are going to be applied to those 2 years. So if you do the math, he has 11 more months of prison time. And if you really look at it, he's probably going to get out at the end of 2020. He also got 5 years of supervised release, and he imposed 300 hours of community service, and he has to pay a fine of $35,000, all of which is just a slap on the wrist when it comes to comparison to what he was originally sentenced with. If you guys remember, he was originally facing a minimum sentence of 47 years in prison to life. So this is a slap on the wrist. This is nothing to what he was facing before because of all the snitching and cooperating he did with the government to take down 9Trey. This reduced his sentence heavily. So let's go over the hearing today and figure out why 6ix9ine got the sentencing that he got. In the beginning of the hearing, all that happened was the government explained why 6ix9ine was a huge help to taking down 9Trey. They said he cooperated with a lot of things, gave us a lot of information. So they told the judge take that into consideration when sentencing him. Then 6ix9ine's lawyer basically explained, hey, he helped with all these things. He's a high-profile person. Everyone knows his face now. Everyone knows what he's done. So he took his life, into risk by doing this. So that's what he told the judge. And then he asked the judge that, hey, this is what I want from him. They said, give him a second chance. What they're asking for is time served and 3 years of supervised release. That's what the lawyer asked for 6ix9ine. Then 6ix9ine actually got to talk, and that's where I'm going to start it at. It starts out by saying, Judge Engelmeyer, thank you, Mr. Lazaro, which is 6ix9ine's lawyer, Mr. Hernandez, which is 6ix9ine, this is your time. Now 6ix9ine speaks. He says, Your Honor, I really don't know where to start. This past year, I can't describe it. I wrote something down. I know we haven't had the chance to speak. He said, I denounced being 9Trey before the arrest. I was aware that the mother of my child was having sexual relations with Kafino Jordan, which is shoddy, via text messages. I was already kidnapped by Anthony Ellison. The booking agents were stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I am not a victim. I put myself in this position from day one. I allowed them in. That was my decision. To the lady who came forward, Miss LL, I don't know you. I'm sorry for what happened. Now, Miss LL was a lady that came actually to the courtroom and wrote a letter to the judge saying to have 6ix9ine locked up for longer, because she was a victim in a shooting that happened that related to 6ix9ine and all the 9Trey Bloods. So she came into court, was crying and saying, hey, keep this guy locked up. He's dangerous to society, so on and so forth. So in that statement, 6ix9ine is saying, I don't know you, but I'm sorry what happened. 6ix9ine also offers to take care of any medical bills that lady had to pay. He said, I know that throwing my money at a situation is not the best result, but whatever medical bills you want me to pay, I will. I'm sorry that happened to you. Now, another crazy thing that happened in court today was that 6ix9ine's biological father, this is the father that he's actually related to, not his stepfather that got murdered in front of him when he was like in the 4th grade or 5th grade. I don't know exactly what time, but this is his biological father that he hasn't seen probably since he was like 7 years old, something like that. He actually, stares at him, gets a glance at him, and then he says, I was in the 3rd grade the last time I saw my biological father. And he took a fucking glance. He was like, I'm sorry to the judge for actually looking at him and not looking at the judge. And then he continues and says, I wrote a letter. I'll read it. I know there is no apology that can kill off the pain we have all been affected by. I'm not perfect. I made a lot of bad choices, but that does not make me a bad person. If you told me in January 2017 I'd be a global star, I'd call you crazy. If in January 2018 you tell me I'd be part of a federal indictment, I'd call you crazy. Since the age of 14 when I lost my father, at 15, 16, 17, I'd see my mom wake up early. I wanted to prove something to the world. I wanted the world to see me as an example that you are in control of where you go. I used my platform to push the message. If I did it, why can't you? I gave people hope. Your Honor, a 5-year-old boy named Franklin was dying of cancer. He wanted me to meet him. I asked myself why, but I went. Cancer had disabled the right side of his body. I told him how strong he was. I realized I was not just a kid with rainbow hair and 6ix9ine tats. Franklin told me I was hope. Then I met another girl named Tati. She broke out of her shell. It was September. The family was struggling. I took them to school shopping for that year. Tati told me if I can be strong, they can be strong. When people see me, they don't only see Tekashi 6ix9ine, the arrogant. I'm a human. I got organs just like everyone else in this room. They see Daniel Hernandez, not Tekashi 6ix9ine. I failed these kids, the millions of kids and my own kids I haven't spoke to the whole time incarcerated. It will be a priority of mine to visit low-income families. I failed these people. They believed Daniel Hernandez. I was too busy making a negative impact in my 6ix9ine persona. I know God has a bigger plan for me. I want to inspire the youth that it would never be too late to change. If I can change for the better, so can they. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I lost my father to violence. I grew up with no guidance. It was me. I live it, so I know. Your Honor, allow me to inspire people, not only the young people here, but the millions around the world listening and watching. The judge asks how. Now, Mr. Hernandez's biological father raises his hand to speak. Judge Engelmeyer says, I'm sorry, it's too late. The judge decides to take a 10-minute break, and when he comes back, he asks, is there any reason a sentence should not be imposed now? The AUSA Longyear says, no, Your Honor. Then Judge Engelmeyer says, Mr. Hernandez, your sentencing has attracted a lot of attention, but the factors are the same as anyone's. Section 3553A. He says, Mr. Hernandez, I've given it a lot of close thought, including your cooperation. The following are my thoughts, and this is going to take a little while. You are in custody for 13 months. I agree you deserve a great deal of credit for cooperation. However, I cannot agree with your counsel that time served is appropriate. In my judgment, your conduct is too violent and selfish to make 13 months reasonable. You will not be going free today. For the better part of the year, you're part of a violent gang, so that there is no misunderstanding. Here's a specific amount of these acts. First came Trippie Redd. You decided to shoot at a member of Trippie Redd's entourage. Jordan fired into a Sprinter van in Times Square area. It is a matter of sheer luck that an innocent person or people was not wounded or killed. When you pled guilty, you admitted to attempting to commit murder on April 3rd, 2018, when a record label in Texas, Rap-A-Lot Records, you drove to 40th Street and 8th Avenue. Cofino Jordan robbed the musicians at gunpoint. You took the backpack and it was found in your home. As it happened, the musicians surrendered easily, but they might not have. Later, outside a restaurant, when people yelled F6ix9ine, Jordan struck them with a firearm. Then at the Barclays Center, you and Casanova were beefing. Your song Billy was a response. You inflamed matters by posting a video mocking Casanova. Next was Chief Keef. He was in New York. You were in LA. You offered $20,000 to shoot at Chief Keef outside W Hotel. You later gave $10,000. Then you were in LA. A rival was live streaming in Smurf Village. Jordan offered to shoot. You said okay. In that incident in Smurf Village, a woman was shot in the foot. LL, who we heard from today. Next was Snow Billy. Aaron Young shot him, and I sentenced Aaron Young to 20 years. Apart from the number and vengefulness of these attacks, there's also that they were beneficial to you. Before you, the gang didn't fight with no rap entourages. They had no independent interest in going after musicians and their management groups. You use 9 Trey as potent means of getting even with your rivals. You claim you foolishly commingled with members of the gang, but it's more than that. The attacks would not have happened without you. Shotty said he carried an assault rifle to protect you from the beefs you started. He was recorded by George Rivera saying this. You didn't shoot, but you're responsible. And so I reject the portrait of you as a passive participant. You told the U.S. Probation Department you were brainwashed by the gang. That might be partially true, but the relationship was symbiotic. They got something out of it, but so did you. Your first crime, use of a child in a sexual performance. You said the same thing. The older acquaintances were having sexual intercourse with the underage girl. That excuse may work once, but it doesn't work twice. You have not been charged with using the members of the gangs as extras. You used them to much effect in Gummo. It was your artistic license to do that. You're not being sentenced for that. You essentially joined. Your choice to join 9Tre was unnecessary. I see a lot of gangs, like a 76 defendant Braun case, they fell in at a young age. That excuse is not available to you. By the time you began with 9Tre, you were a nationally famous rapper. You had a prosperous future. Your counsel says he joined to break out poverty. I am not buying that. You were set. As a result of your music career, you could have gotten the advice of security people and presumably lawyers and accountants. I have sentenced hundreds of defendants for gang activity. Your daughter had nothing to do with your decision. But before your cooperation, you would have got a very long sentence. When you began to cooperate in November 2018, some indictments the government didn't know about, but it knew about a lot. The April 3rd robbery, the 2 April 18th shootings. Your driver had been cooperating for many months against you. The attack on Frenchie's van was captured on security video. I therefore conclude that one way or another, the full range of your conduct would have came to light. Your cooperation was courageous. The danger to you is multiplied because of your music career, which I understand you intend to continue. The fact that you are unusually recognizable does not help you. You met with the government 26 times reviewing social media messages and decoding them. Your cooperation enabled the government to take down a violent gang beyond the 6, including you, named in the initial indictments. You testified at the trial this fall. I saw you staining to make sure you were measuring your words right. You testified in harsh glare of nationwide publicity. There were 2 other cooperators, but you squarely implicated the 2 defendants. The jury's 2 not guilty verdicts on firearms charge did not implicate your testimony. I have little doubt if the jury were asked if a firearm had been brandished during your kidnapping, they would have said yes, and today you apologize. I have no doubt that the process of cooperation for you has been cathartic. For all of these reasons, you deserve a very substantial reduction, and you will receive it. I followed some of the commentary during the trial. I took much of it in good fun. I appreciated the memes, whether at your expense or mine, but I need to say 9Tre was violent, not to be glorified. Cooperation of criminal insiders is a necessary tool. Imagine the members of 9Tre freed today. There was a slashing victim. Any one of yous could have been in Times Square or the Barclays Center or in the street with Kafino Jordan or Anthony Young. You are world famous for cooperating. No gang will want to work for you. Everything I've seen suggests to me that this has been a searing experience for you. You have squandered 13 months so far. I do not expect you to be tempted to commit violence again. If you do, I am the judge in your case and your economic self-interest. You have struck a lucrative deal. The situation is unusual. You are very fortunate. You will land on your feet. So far, your story appears to prove that there is no such thing as bad publicity. In the end, my judgment is that 13 months is not enough. I've considered other 5K sentences in gang violence. 13 months is outside the mainstream. Mr. Hernandez, if you expected to be released today, you will be disappointed, but you were wise to cooperate. Your cooperation will result in years more liberty. Mr. Hernandez, please rise. It is the judgment of the court you are to serve a term of 24 months in prison with 5 years of supervised release. I impose 300 hours of community service when you get out and a fine of $35,000. Mr. Hernandez, the worst part is over. There is a great deal to be admired about you. You've learned a hard lesson here. I wish you very well. We are adjourned. So that's how it went down. A few crazy things that I noticed in this hearing was that 6IX's original biological father was there, which he hasn't seen in a very long time. Who knows why he went there? Probably just to see his son, maybe pray for him, maybe wish better for him. Who knows? That was the crazy thing. Another crazy thing is the judge admitting that he's actually watched commentary on this. I don't know if you've seen my videos, but commentary on this, and he's actually enjoyed the memes that have come out of this, because there was an insane amount of memes when he was snitching on people. You know, people were making snitching comments about people being in 9 tray and all this stuff. It was just hilarious. So it's funny to see that the judge actually saw that and enjoyed some of it, even though it was a serious case. So like I mentioned earlier, that 24-month sentence is running concurrent with the time that he's serving right now. So he's expected to be out in about 11 more months. And if you look at the time, it's basically going to be late 2020. He'll be out. He may be out even sooner if he has, time well served. He doesn't cause any problems. They may let him out a little bit earlier because in high profile cases like this, they don't want, the public to know exactly the date the high profile person is going to get out, because that can cause a whole media frenzy and it can cause the person to potentially get harmed when he gets released. So we're going to probably expect November, but he might get out in October, or he might get out a little bit later. It's usually earlier though, so I'm expecting October, maybe September randomly, and we won't even know the exact date. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys think this is a fair sentencing for 6ix9ine? He's basically essentially served 2 years when it's all said and done, while other people have served 10 years, some 15, some even 20 in this whole case. But what do you guys think about his sentencing? Do you guys expect him to come home today? Are you disappointed or happy, or what's the case? Let me know in the comments below of what you guys think. With that being said, that's it for this video. If you want to support this channel further, you can do so at patreon.com/diversementality. For just $1 a month or more, you can help support this channel further. A link is in the description below. Like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe. I do videos like this daily on hip-hop news and much more, so definitely subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at QuakeGW. Like us on Facebook, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.